Welcome everyone. It's so good to see such a nice crowd here tonight. Thank you. Thank you for your willingness to step forward and work for your city. So, appreciate it. So at this time, I'd like to call to order the special city council meeting for September 5th, 2023. The time is now 4 o'clock and we call the meeting to order. What we're going to do with public comments and receipt of petitions is we're going to hear anyone who would like to make any comments except about the shop and stroll. The reason is there's going to be 2 presentations tonight. And those presentations may answer some of the questions or may give rise to more questions. So I wanted to make sure that everyone has heard the same thing. And then we will open that up to public comments after those presentations. So at this time, is there anyone who public comments and receipt of petitions would like to speak on any matter other than personnel matters or matter under litigation for a length of time not to exceed 3 minutes? No council board discussion or action may take place on a matter until such matter has been placed on the agenda and posted in accordance with the law. So is there anyone who would like to speak on anyone signed up except Shop and Stroll?
Yes, I have Colleen Pye who would like to speak on the general comments.
Okay, that is not connected to the Shop and Stroll. Okay, is Colleen here?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. All right. Is there anyone else who had signed up that is not connected to the, okay. Is there anyone who would like to speak on any other issue besides the issue that brought us all together this afternoon? Okay, then I will close those public comments and receipt of petition time, and that would be reopened after everyone has given their presentations. Okay. Workshop, discussion and direction regarding Shop and Stroll. Okay. I understand that there were 2 people who wanted to make some presentations. Kelly Violet with your name and
Good
who you
evening, Mayor and
represent.
Council
Okay.
and most of downtown Tomball. It's nice to see you all today. Thank you for coming together. We wanted to give you an overview of this grant. This was kind of a new grant that we have that we took on this past year. And so when that was approved, I think there was a comment, we want to see what this does. And so that's what this is really intended to do, is to give you kind of an overview of what's gone on as far as the grant itself, give you some background as to why we did the grant, kind of show you what was paid for, and then talk about a merchant survey that we sent out, got results back, and also kind of recommendations for moving forward. This is not intended to be a bitch fest. This is not intended to be anything but productive for this group. So want to kind of set the stage there. So why are we involved in this? This really kind of came out of our 2019 strategic work plan. And we started looking at kind of the Shop Local initiative that was right before COVID really started ramping up. And then post-COVID and during COVID was when we really started kind of creating this collaboration with the Chamber of Commerce. And that was the Tomball Together initiative. And so you may have seen in some of our banners or in some of the storefronts, this SIP, Shop, Stroll, Stay, Support Local. That was all done in 2019, so well before the grant. But that was kind of the start of this Tomball Together, the Shop Local initiative that the EDC has been a part of in conjunction with the Chamber. We held a few events. One was the 10 Days of Tomball Together. And as you see, obviously, that was a partnership between us, the Chamber, and Planet Board. You can see the Shop, Dine, Think, Tomball, again, kind of that whole, the whole goal is to bring people here, get people to shop here and support our local businesses. And it is in our strategic plan. So we have 4 main goals, as most of you know. The 3rd primary goal, and this kind of keeps rising up as importance when we do our stakeholder surveys, but the redevelopment and development of Old Town. So I want to give you just an overview of the grant itself. The grant was requested in May of 22, and it was requested after 2 previous events were held where the grant recipient as well as additional businesses had participated with funds. So there was a Halloween party, Sip and Stroll, in October of 21. Megan Morris had taken on the cost of all the paid marketing and materials for the participants for that event. And then the Christmas Sip and Stroll in December of 21. And in that one, because of the amount of cost out of pocket, she had asked the stores to contribute about $35 to help with the cost of the cups, paid ad spend, maps, etc. And there was about 26 to 30 stores that participated. So you can see these 2 were not included in the grant. This was kind of what led up to the grant request. Because those were successful, Megan had reached out to us and said, is there anything that we can do to kind of help get some marketing dollars for this? And for us, obviously, our goal is to really support all of our businesses, whether they're downtown or on 249. We're also here to try and encourage tourism. Tourism is a big component of economic development. It's bringing new dollars in to our community. It also was intended to eliminate the contributions that each store had to pay for the grant. So really kind of helping to leverage our dollars, eliminate the cost for each individual business, and help expand the reach for marketing. And the marketing for each paid ad spend went from $500, which was what was funded through the first 2, to $2,500 each. And you'll see later kind of where that went. The total grant that was approved was $40,545. That was kind of over 2 fiscal years. So there were 2 events that were included in the grant in fiscal year 22. That's their summer party, as well as the back to school event. The total for those, as far as the request, was about $9,010. And then the 6 events in fiscal year 23, you can see, are all the way from Halloween to the summer soiree. What we've actually reimbursed is $38,978.74. Essentially, the grant is complete. It is performance-based, so the company has to perform. They have to provide all of the material. They front all of the costs, and then after each event occurs, they're reimbursed as they submit their material and proof of payment for events. So here is I'm sorry for these slides being so wordy, but this is a breakdown of each grant and what was reimbursed. So you can see the first item in each of them is paid marketing. That's $2,500. That's across the board. Digital marketing, postcard printing, poster printing, yard signs, custom printed cups. Those all are pretty much what we are, our agreement incentivizes or reimburses for. So you can see for the first event, that was about $5,018.85. The August event was $4,500. The Witches Night Out, the October event, was about $3,658. And then the Christmas one was $5,832. And again, it's all the same materials essentially, or costs that we're reimbursing for each one. The Galentine's, which was a very successful event, was $3,658.36. And then the St. Patrick's Day event was $4,659.11. The Mother's Day event was $3,658.36. And then the summer soiree, the July event, was $5,956.24. We sent out a merchant survey on July 28th. This is after several meetings with our downtown merchants. We've been involved kind of in this process throughout, working with Megan as well as other business owners that have questions, that have suggestions. And so what we wanted to do was just kind of a wrap-up survey. You know, we've gone through this now about a year. What does that mean? What does that look like for each individual business? So we sent out 67 surveys, direct surveys. We also asked, hey, if you know somebody that's not on this, please forward it. So how far it actually reached, I don't know, other than I know that we sent out 67. We've gotten 36 responses, so about a 54% response rate, which is really pretty good. 56 of those were from the retail sector, or 56%, I'm sorry. 25% is other, and then 19% is restaurant. These are the businesses. 32 businesses were represented in the survey. As I mentioned, there were 36 respondents. Some of the businesses had 1 or 2 people that responded. And so there was a few duplicates. I think there was about 4. So that's the only difference between the numbers. So when we asked people, how do you feel the events affected your business? 80% said they saw an increase in foot traffic. 86% experienced increases in sales on the day of the event. 88% felt the events exposed them to new customers. And if you have any questions as I'm going through this, please stop me. I know there's a lot of people here and they want to talk, so I'm trying to go quick. When we asked about these events and what their impact is, 77% strongly agreed that they have a positive impact on their business. 65% strongly agreed that they have a positive impact on their block. And 74% strongly agree that there is a positive impact on Old Town by these events. When we asked about the attendees, so basically their audience, we asked, are they a good fit for your business? 58% agreed. 42% somewhat agreed. When we asked if they seemed to be a good size audience for the event, 83% agreed, 11% somewhat agreed, and 5% disagreed. And then when we asked if their event attendees enjoyed the events, 88% said that they agreed that they thought that they did, 11% somewhat agreed. When we asked if they thought the attendees understood the events, 77% agreed, 16% somewhat agreed, and 5% disagreed. This is a slide that I think is really probably one of the most critical. What percentage increase have you seen in sales at your business during these events? 31% reported increases above 50%. That's huge. We're hearing that. We're hearing, we're getting Christmas time numbers, but what does that actually look like when you quantify it? 50% reported that they had an increase of 20 to 50%, and 19% reported an increase of 0 to 20%. When we asked, did you receive all the information that you needed prior to the events? 88% of the respondents said yes, 11% said no. Those that said no said that they didn't get postcards or some of the printed material until a week or a couple days before. And that was one of the comments that we saw kind of throughout the survey as far as, lessons learned, where could we improve? When we asked, how satisfied are you with the overall event organization? 55% responded satisfied or very satisfied. We had one response that was neutral and one response that was very dissatisfied. And I wanted to kind of point out some of the comments because I think they're really, very valuable to what we're going to discuss tonight. So some of the comments were that the event was not consistent. Some people said that they love the event, but they don't love it. They don't get the flyers or marketing material in time. They said it's a hard job and they appreciate the hard work. One suggestion is to get the flyers out earlier. Somebody said it's great for businesses, but it should be centered around shopping, not everyone getting drunk for free. Said, I think it's vital and I enjoy every single one. Dates are planned very far ahead, so therefore the marketing materials should be given much earlier than a few days. Input and feedback from store owners was rarely considered. Communication with participating businesses was inconsistent. Feedback was ignored or not received. Another one said, I loved participating in these events. They are so much fun, drastically increase our sales, and our little business gets so much exposure. I couldn't be happier with the success. 100% business doubles. And the last one said, I do next to nothing and get a ton of new customers or a night that would typically be slow. We asked what they liked most about the events. We had some great feedback. So just people out and about in Tomball, not a ghost town anymore. The fun with the shoppers. They're saying these events are happy. They love seeing the new customers come into their stores. One respondent said 300 plus guests went through the gallery. That was when Da Vinci's was still open. They love the increase in the sales and the customers, the overall exposure. They bring the community together and give to their customers, increase in sales, new attendees, love seeing the nightlife downtown. The foot traffic downtown is great. I love a community event. It's super fun for the people who love Tomball to get to come out and enjoy it with all the shop owners who also love Tomball. The increase in revenue, employees like working them. It brings people in to discover what Old Town has to offer. The marketing is amazing and the event brings in so much business and the energy is fun. The social aspect, the energy, and it helps make Tomball a place people want to come for fun. The three most successful events that the respondents identified were the Galentine's event, the Mother's Day event, and the Halloween event. And it's interesting because you'll see later on in the presentation, we did a cell phone analysis of the actual amount of people that came during those dates. And just because certain dates had higher attendance didn't correlate to the merchants and their increases. So it's kind of interesting to see it from that perspective. The reported least successful or profitable shop and stroll events were the summer party. I think mainly because it was very, very hot. St. Patrick's Day and then Christmas. When we asked about the preference for whether or not people wanted monthly events or quarterly events, 75% talked about quarterly events and that they prefer Thursdays by 94%. We asked, in what ways do you think the event could be improved to better support your business? And we had a range of responses from, I think everything's working great, to we want to see it organized under a committee run by the chamber or another entity, less of them with more impact. Advertising, so far it's been great. I've only been here for 2 of them. I think we need to market in all the local papers and neighborhoods, try and get the news out for an event, need more awareness outside of downtown. Don't dismiss feedback and ideas from store owners. Advertisement is the biggest help. Making it safer and no longer a liability issue for the businesses. Event goers in the city should be at paramount. All shop participation. Getting the flyer out sooner would be great. We would love to pass them out in bags the week before. For me, it's perfect. Would love to have the materials in advance to promote the event. New leadership, communication. If more businesses would open to the event and extend their hours, there'd be more foot traffic. A committee to vote various themed events, controlled alcohol, TEDC to host alongside with a local marketing company, and a starting point and ending point clearly mapped out. So let's talk about results. So the cell phone analysis data shows for each event, the unique visitors. A unique visitor is a person who visits they say Polygon, but our area, which is the area of downtown that we've identified at least once and is counted only once in the reporting period. So if you come downtown, then you turn around and go back home because you forgot something and then you come back, it's not going to count you twice. So that is a unique visitor. So if you look at the summer event, it was 7,000 unique visitors. You can see kind of the time of when that picks up and peaks. Obviously, you know, you've got your traffic patterns for work, the commute there and commute home, but you see obviously in those areas where, I don't know if that's going to work, in those areas where you see the most activity. There's a heat map, so you can see where attendees are coming from. A lot of them are the immediate area. Some of them are coming as far down as almost Sugar Land and up north by Willis. The top zip codes as far as attendees was the 77375. The back to school event had 4,300 unique visitors, average dwelling time of about 88 minutes. And you can see the heat maps are pretty consistent as far as where visitors are coming from. And again, 77375 was the top zip code for attendance. The Halloween event had 7,300 unique visitors with an average dwelling time of 70 minutes. And again, very similar heat map, although you do see some coming as far as Pasadena and Brenham. And I don't know where that is, up northeast of Shepherd. But again, 14% or the highest amount is from our local zip code 77375. The Christmas event had 5,600 unique visitors with an average dwelling time of about 86 minutes. And that one is a little more spread out. You saw in the previous ones a pretty big cluster north of the dot, north of Tomball, and this one is spread out a little bit further south. But again, 77375 is where we're seeing the majority of our visitors. Galentine's, so 6,300 unique visitors, 91 minutes. We stayed longer for this event. And if you look at this chart versus the others, you can see the peak time was about 5 p.m. Or when they started was about 5 p.m. with the peak time about 7 p.m. Same heat location map, general area. And again, 77375. The St. Patrick's Day had about 9,600 visitors. So that was the largest number of visitors that we had for any of the events. They stayed at average of 81 minutes. And you can see the peak for that event was basically midday, so noon to 2-ish. And you can see the heat location map again is a little bit more spread to the north. And same findings on zip codes. The Mother's Day event had 5,600 unique visitors with the average dwelling time of about 75 minutes. And again, you can see those times that they really start to pick up between 5 p.m. and about 8 p.m. I'm going to go through those quickly. The summer soiree, so this is the July event, 5,200 unique visitors. Despite the heat, 81 minutes was the average dwelling time. And again, you can see from about 5 to about 8 is the peak time for the evening. The heat map. And again, 77375. So visitor overview, based on cell phone data, the event that was most visited is the St. Patrick's Day event. The summer soiree was the second most visited, and the third was the Halloween event. Based on the merchant feedback, the most successful events were Galentine's, Halloween, and Mother's Day. So it's interesting to see where kind of those correlations do or don't exist with the amount of people that are visiting versus what the sales actually are.
Kelly, I have a question. On that heat map, how does it detect people coming through like into the area? And my main question is, people driving through on 2920 on Main Street, just passing through, are those people?
Nope, they have to actually stop. And I think it's a certain amount of time that they have to be there for it'll actually pick up. So it doesn't catch if you're stopped at a light and passing through. It's actually people that came here and stayed here.
Okay, thank you.
Just for my own information, so none of these, when you say unique, none of those are repeat people?
They could be repeat people, but they're not going to be repeat people in the same day.
Okay.
So like
they
if you
could
had
be-
come and then you went home to get something and then came back, it's not going to count you twice for that day
Right.
because it goes by your actual cell phone.
Okay,
And so it eliminates any duplicates. It's actual unique visitors is what they call
so
it.
this is technology that is monitoring where we are.
I don't
at
have
all
the
times.
technology. Thankfully, we have consultants that do. But you know,
Okay.
it's nice to be able to see, you know, and
Yeah.
to get to have this information, to know where people are coming from and where, you know, our events are really kind of attracting people.
Okay. good.
Okay, lessons learned. So marketing and promo material needs to be completed and distributed earlier. That was pretty common thread. Obviously, you know, I think that's one thing that can be easily addressed moving forward. Increased communication on a single platform. One of the challenges we heard was there are multiple different platforms, from text to emails to Facebook to you name it. So the idea is really to increase communication, but keep that on a single platform that everybody has access to. There was several comments about controlling the alcohol. So whether that means, you know, there needs to be a TABC licensed bartender at every event, I don't know, but there is obviously a concern about controlling alcohol, and that's something I think needs to be looked at going forward. The preference obviously, again, was for quarterly events and for them to be on Thursday evenings. So recommendations to move forward. My recommendation is to eliminate the grant. I think that's something that, you know, we've talked over and over, you know, is this helping? Is this hurting? Is it creating more confusion than help? I think when this initially was approved and the event started, you I think there was just a lot of learning that needed to happen. And so getting everybody on board, getting everybody around a table who can have a say is really, I think, where we would like to suggest the group moving, and helping to market some of those events or market the promotional items through our marketing budget versus doing a grant with an individual business. We also would recommend supporting the creation of a downtown business owners group, whether that's a downtown association, a committee, a board. I don't know what that looks like, obviously, but I think that there is definitely a need to move towards that direction where we have an actual formal board that meets, or association, and everybody can have a say and be around the table to move these events along. We'd like to work with the Texas Downtown Association. I think I've mentioned before, they can come in, they'll do an assessment of downtown. It's not like the comp plan assessment where they're looking at land use and setbacks and those types of things. They're going to be looking more at business climate, talking with business owners. What are the challenges? What are you seeing? What is it that we need to do long-term to help grow our downtown and continue to have it thrive? They will come in and do an assessment. It's about $1,500. And they are tied in with the Texas Downtown Association. The difference is, and it's a nonprofit, but the difference is that you don't have to have or be a part of the Main Street program to work with the Texas Downtown Association. So it's open to all Texas downtowns. So they'll bring in their experts, and they've worked in downtowns all across Texas for years, and will really kind of help get us moving to that process of being able to identify the needs, the opportunities, but also I think part of that is going to be helping to set up or create an association or a board with the downtown property owners or merchants. And then hopefully that will translate into consistent meetings and communication.
So this could be something that when you start tearing up the roads, this organization would be established to bring ideas and assist for all of the businesses downtown.
Absolutely. I think that's really the goal is, not for it to be a sip and stroll specific association or board or committee, but really for it to be a downtown kind of sounding board for all of us, and something that connects us so that we can help filter in and out information. I also think, as we're looking at city events, a lot of times there's not a coordination between the business owners and the city, and that's a missed opportunity. Some of the people are wanting to do more frequent events. Well, you can partner and do some events. They don't have to be sip and strolls. They could be different themed events. And we've heard that from business after business, that they would like, themed events, and they would like a purpose for some of them. So I think there's a lot of opportunity there, not just for the sip and strolls, but really for it to be, a coordinated group that helps work with us as a city and the EDC. Okay, so what's next? As of right now, the plan, as I understand it, is to self-fund the next several events to get through the rest of this year. And I'm going to ask Megan to talk a little bit about that moving forward. But my suggestion, as far as working with Texas Downtown Association and helping the businesses to set up an actual formal association, we anticipate we could do that in November. In the meantime, what we would like to see is some type of coordination where we continue to meet with the downtown property owners and talk about things and get stuff flushed out as far as the dates for the upcoming ones. What are the issues? What are the themes that people want to take on? And I think that that's something that we could do in the interim before even having a formal established association or board. I think that's the end of mine. I'll shush now. I know Megan has a few things that she wanted to talk about. I'm gonna let her, unless you had any other questions from me.
Does council have any questions about Kelly's presentation or anything?
Thank you.
Very good presentation. Thank you, Kelly. Okay, Megan, well, just state your name and who you're with.
I'm Megan Morris with Sip Hip Hooray. I'm battling sinuses, so excuse me. Mayor and Council, thank you for your opportunity to present a wrap-up report on the Sip and Stroll events funded by the generous grant awarded to Sip Hip Hooray. I'm Megan Morris, founder at Sip Hip Hooray and recipient of the grant for the event in our Old Town Tomball District. I'm genuinely grateful for the trust you've placed in our company. I want to begin by acknowledging the tremendous success we've achieved with your support and our collaborative efforts. The grant enabled us to organize and execute 6 outstanding Sip and Stroll events, each of which left a significant positive impact on our town. The responses from both local stores and restaurants, as well as our community, has been overwhelmingly positive. These events have not only highlighted our local businesses, but also fostered a sense of unity and camaraderie among our residents and customers alike. As I always say, rising tides lift all boats. I must take a moment to express my profound gratitude for the overwhelming support of so many local businesses. They've showed up and supported this event wholeheartedly, not only with their presence, but also by actively marketing it and working tirelessly to ensure its success. Without their unwavering support, this event wouldn't have been possible. I'd like to emphasize that my approach to seeking this grant was grounded in thorough preparation and a commitment to ensuring its success, along with the invaluable support of the participating businesses. Before even considering filing for a grant application, Sip Hip Hooray made an investment of around $1,000 in addition per event to push the ad budget and test our proof of concept. This, combined with the financial contributions from other participating businesses involved, allowed us to run multiple events to evaluate their viability and impact on our community. These initial investments were essential in proving that our concept had the potential to thrive. It was only after rigorously testing the concept and gathering valuable insights that I approached the EDC to explore the opportunities available. My decision to apply for the grant was not taken lightly. It was a accumulation of efforts guided by a commitment to the success of our community-driven events. As Kelly already talked about, this event covered several components: paid marketing. A substantial amount of the grant was towards social media advertising, ensuring our events reached a wide and engaged audience. We had a digital marketing firm that supported those efforts. We partnered with BJM Creative, led by Betsy, who we'll hear from in a moment. She has a lot of background in event marketing, and I think that contributed highly to the success of these events. And we were also lucky enough to work with Spot On Public Relations. They played a vital role in spreading the word about our events through newspapers, digital publications, and influencer invitations. They have extensive connections in Houston, particularly in government affairs, which helped bridge the gap between Houston and Tomball. Printed marketing materials, as my primary business is a custom printing, design, and marketing firm. We were able to leverage my connections to provide high quality printed materials such as postcard, posters, signs, and cups, all at wholesale rates without any markups. While we have celebrated numerous achievements, it is worth noting we have encountered challenges. I assure you that we and I have worked diligently to address these challenges. We understand that some may have concerns, and we remain committed to fostering open dialogue and collaboration to move forward positively. This grant was granted to Sip Hip Hooray, but I've always treated it as a citywide initiative. I actively sought feedback, encouraged inclusivity, and strive to build bridges within our business owner group. Lastly, I want to highlight the tangible results of our efforts. I'll be sharing some of the materials we created for the events, showcasing the various themes. Additionally, I have a comparative chart illustrating our revenue generated from these events in comparison with others in town. In closing, I want to say thank you again to the EDC and the City of Tomball City Council and Mayor for believing in our vision and taking a chance on us. This grant has truly allowed us to create memorable events and strengthen the fabric of our community here. I'd like to answer any questions, and I also want to address a few things that I didn't speak on. The self-funding plan, so we do already have one event. I've kind of not planned too far ahead, just waiting to kind of see how all of this panned out, but we did plan a November 9th event. We are already funded to the grant amount average that you saw in Kelly's presentation, which is really wonderful. 35 approximately companies have already committed to contributing $150 to get us to that number. I did speak with Chris Lord earlier today and in a meeting last week about really finding ways to collaborate more with the city. I think that's a really big missed opportunity. I think that the Sip and Stroll crowd and the people that are used to coming to the city events crowd are probably, there's got to be a good mix of people on both ends of that have never been to the opposite event. So we kicked some ideas around earlier today about, I understand y'all have rules and regulations on how you can promote things. So I kind of asked him what we can do on our end, and I'm going to brainstorm some ideas. We didn't really come up with anything solid yet, but we had a really good conversation about that. And I also want to address the varying cost in Kelly's report. I think that it might be confusing how some were like 3,500 and some were like 58, or I don't remember the highest. Some of our consultants bill on a quarterly basis in an effort to just keep myself ahead. I just wait as long as I can and I batch out for reimbursement. So like our PR firm bills me on a quarterly basis, so I'm not able to prove payment on that end of the sip and stroll like line item for her until quarterly sometimes. So if you're wondering why there was a variance so greatly in some of those amounts, that could explain that. So I wanted to address that. But that's all I have. I'm really grateful, and I've enjoyed doing it. And it hasn't always been easy, but I've truly enjoyed it. And thank you for the opportunity. So,
Thank you. Is there any questions of Megan?
okay.
Thank you.
And I'd like to introduce Betsy Moorhead. She is our digital ad expert, and she can kind of help go into that data much better than I ever could. So,
Thank you, Megan.
Good evening.
And your name and who
Yeah,
you represent?
My name's Betsy Moorhead. I own a digital marketing and advertising agency called BJM Creative. And for the last year or so, I've worked on all of the digital ads that represent the Sip and Stroll events. And actually, I have a slide. I'm not sure if, oh, hello, clicker. I'm the digital girl. Okay. Okay, so here's just some high level numbers for you on the advertising. These are all based on Facebook ads. That is what we ran for all the Sip and Strolls. So these numbers are from all the events that we ran advertisements on from September 15th of 2022 to the most recent one that ended. I just ran the numbers through July 31st of 2023. The total ad spend was $15,000. And as we noted, that was $2,500 per event. And some of the numbers that I wanted to break out for you, and I'll go into those a little bit further, but the reach of all of the ads, doesn't matter what type of ad they were on Facebook, we reached 765,060 unique people over the course of these campaigns. And then the number of impressions, which this means the total number of times that the ads showed up in someone's Facebook feed, they interacted with them, all of the above was over 3.5 million different times. And then one of the things we ran ads to were Facebook events that were created, which all the businesses were co-hosting on these events. And we had 7,500 plus event responses to these Facebook ads. And that meant that someone said they were either going or interested. And one unique thing about this is that if somebody says they're going or they're interested in a Facebook event, anytime something is posted in it, you're pinged about it, you get a notification, or your friends may see in their feed that you've said you're going or interested. And so that kind of helps with the impression number as well to reach new people. So some of the ways that we split up the budget were into 3 different ad categories. They included awareness of the event response ads, and then engagement ads. So the engagements were, we were trying to get people to engage with anything that had to do with Sip and Stroll, like, comment, share, all of these different posts that were being put out about the event. Some of the data you can see by event. So I've broken out the impressions and the reach per event. You can see that they match with some of the numbers that you saw earlier this evening with which ones were kind of the more popular events when it came to attendance or interest. And then also they did the best on those ones. And then I wanted to break out the targeting strategy a little bit, because some of the goals with, or not some of the goals with these advertisements were to not only engage people in the Tomball area, but also to reach people outside of the city limits, to bring them in, to get them exposed to the Old Town Tomball area so that they would come back eventually and shop some more. So we ran some ads that were event awareness to people that were outside of the area or that were in the area, but maybe hadn't engaged with an event ad before. We ran some interest targeting, so people that were interested in shopping or seasonal activities. So for some of the seasonal events, you know, people that were interested in Halloween or Halloween events, moms on the Mother's Day. There's just a lot of different ways you can interest target people on Facebook. And then we would also engage people who were similar to those people that had RSVP'd to the events in the past. So we were able to finagle the data on Facebook so that Facebook would find people that looked like the people that previously attended. And then again, we retargeted people who'd been to an event before, or excuse me, had said they were going or interested in an event before. So those are the three kind of main categories in how we targeted people. And then there were moments of time where on the ads, we would exclude the Tomball area from those ads so that we could be sure that we were exposing the event awareness to people outside of the city limits or people that maybe had already seen the ads. We didn't want them to see them multiple times. So those are just some little digital advertising tricks that we did. And that's it. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
So is with your Facebook ads, if my math is right, you reached about 765,000 or 700,000 something reached.
Mhm.
And you got 7,650 that said they were interested in going. Which is
Yes.
About 1%.
Right.
Is that typical?
Well, so that's why I kind of broke it down here at the top. It's hard to correlate the spend with the actual event responses just because the way we broke up the different campaigns. But I would say the fact that the impression number and what we spent is under like $4 for something like that is pretty good. So yes, I would say yes.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have any bearing to judge that, but I was just going by the response rate. Because I mean, I've said, yeah, I'm interested in that, or I'm going, or something like that. So, which I think you would go or
Mhm.
tell somebody about.
Mhm. Mhm.
That seems a little low to me, but maybe that is typical on
Yeah.
Facebook.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
So before we get into our workshop, I now would like to reopen public comments and receipt of petitions. So at this time, anyone will be allowed to speak on any matter other than personnel matters or matters under litigation for a length of time not to exceed 3 minutes. No council board discussion or action may take place on a matter until such matter has been placed on the agenda and posted in accordance with the law. I have to read that every time, so that's why I'm doing that. So we're going to reopen that, and we cannot comment on your comments until we get into the workshop. So this is just to come up for 3 minutes at a time and speak on sip and stroll, shop and stroll, whichever way we're going to be known as, and at this time. So Tracy.
I have Michael Pierce, who did not wish to speak, however, wanted to record his support for this event. He added some comments. Thank you for supporting these events. They truly helped the shops and brought many from afar to Old Tomball. Leadership was top-notch, and anyone saying otherwise has ulterior motives. Thank you, Cloud Chief. P.S. Most got upset because they could not give cute little names to the events. Hardly a reason to complain, in my opinion. Megan rules. And then next I have Colleen Pye.
You come up and say your name and address.
Colleen Pye, 207 Florence, Tomball. So I'm just coming here as a consumer. I live, I work, and I play here. And I go to every sip and stroll. I wrote it down so that I could keep on task. You know, I talk to every shop owner, I go all over, and I hear complaints and I hear compliments. So, you know, when you run a business, the great thing to hear is, oh, wow, my business is thriving. But if you're complaining about it, you got to fix the complaint, right? So the biggest point is, until Megan came here with this idea, I met Megan on Tomball night. I thought, God, what a pain in the butt. She was very full of energy, but she made sip and stroll. And everybody here in this room has benefited from it. You know, I was talking to Megan earlier today, and I get focused in my business. We all get focused in our business, and maybe we're not at our best when we are because we're so focused, we're not paying attention. And for that, you could come with criticism for Megan. Myself included, I'm definitely not perfect. So, I would ask that some of these people that complained in the survey took a step back and realized how they act in their day-to-day businesses. They're probably not perfect either. So I want to address the overpours that saying that Megan overpours. My son, who has poured probably many of your drinks, if you've ever been to Fire Ant or Prodigams, poured for one of her events. And let me tell you, that boy is honest as the day is long, and he would not overserve. And unless you've been in her store, you don't know that she did or did not. I just ask that everyone in this room back off because I got a good kid. I'm very lucky to have that. So he would not break his TABC. And also, if you think you know that, you probably should have been in your own stores tending to your own business. So I wanted to make that comment. Numbers don't lie. And also for getting out flyers and cups and stuff like that, my neighbor Nancy went and helped Megan distribute stuff. Shouldn't have been her job. Business owners should have gone, picked up the flyers and the cups and stuff like that. I kind of wonder where they were. But my neighbor, the good neighbor, was doing that stuff. So anyway, Sip and Stroll, it's a great event, and glad you guys supported it. They're going to go on and do their own thing. I'm sure it's going to be great. I love going to it.
Thank you. Is there anyone else signed up?
I do not have anyone else.
Is there anyone wishing to speak at this time on this subject? Name and address.
Hi, my name is Brittany Johnson. I own Jaden Lane, 309 Market Street. I also took notes. So I am here because I have been in discussion with Kelly and am here today to focus on the path forward by asking all of you to agree for EDC to help us fund the marketing for the future of these events. It is important that we have a formal committee of business owners to be established so that we have a voice on how our businesses are promoted and represented in the public eye. It is hard to have everyone agree on much, but if there was a vote and a committee amongst business owners, the future of continuing these strolls would be more successful. I have discussed with Kelly a suggested plan for EDC to fund marketing and allow a committee of business owners to have control and make decisions based on a vote on all aspects. We have several marketing companies here in Tomball that can allow a local formal entity to promote such events. These town-wide strolls have a proven track record of success. With the support of EDC, funded events can continue in a formal manner that allows business owners to collectively make decisions. With this plan, we can continue to drive revenue to the town as a team in a professional manner for all. Many business owners have hosted events throughout previous years, long before I ever even came into town, who are no longer in town as we speak today. If we make this a formal committee, collective events can carry on during any transition of stores coming and going. As an example, Farmers Market is a proven successful event that is set up similar to what I'm asking. I believe this is the best way to continue events so that this can carry on into the future as a community. Please consider this for the future of Tomball. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, never
Oh,
mind, no
can't take any
questions, sorry.
questions. Anyone else? Scott, give your name and address.
Scott Moore,
Sorry.
404 South Pine Street, owner operator Tejas Chocolate Barbecue and Tejas Burger Joint. We're coming up on our 8-year anniversary now at the barbecue restaurant in October. So we've gotten to witness a little bit what's going on. And this event didn't exist when we opened our restaurant. And I think Megan deserves some credit for creating what's taking place here and to see it moving in a direction of being formalized is, I think, a good thing. All these events are great. They've been good for both our restaurants. And I know that they've been good for a lot of the retailers, and there's nothing's perfect. So there's, I think, some outliers that end up getting a lot of the attention that overshadow the broader success of these events. All the city events are great. The thing that I like about this event is that it's focused on putting bodies in stores and restaurants, and city events are about putting people at the depot or on Market Street. And honestly, some of our worst weekends are during city events, in particular German Fest. But I'm a big German Fest guy because I can hear the oompa music from my driveway. I'm coming up for my Wiener Schnitzels, all right? So I'm supportive of that. I'm just saying that this particular event is focused on putting bodies in the stores, which is what I like about it. And I want to know where Hildegeist is. Why isn't he running this thing? Why isn't the chamber? In a lot of cities, these events are run by the Chamber of Commerce. To me, it just seems like it's a Chamber of Commerce thing, and they have the resources to do it. So let's get them an extra hour a day to do it, or whatever it takes. But I'm a fan. I think it's a good event, and I'm glad it's here, and I hope it continues.
Thank you. Don't be shy. It's okay.
Tasha George, 208 North Elm. I own Gray's Restaurant, and I'm going to be really quick because basically everything Scott said, he stole my thunder. I think it's great. We've only been here a year and a half. Sip and Strolls, the revenue up there said 50% or more. For me personally, 65% increase in revenue on every single Sip and Stroll. I'm sorry, average on all Sip and Strolls. So to us, that's a lot of money. So I hope it continues, however that goes. If it's a committee, that's great. And I would formally ask to be on the committee. Other than that, again, it's a great event for the city. Same with German Fest, all the city events, they're all on Market Street. This brings them in our building, and great event for the city. Thank you.
Does anyone else have any?
To piggyback on the
Name
last
and-
couple of
name and
comments, I'm
address.
sorry. My name is Bridget Gould and I own Terrarium at 311 West Main. Just to give you some actual percentage increase, just from a small business, and I mean small, we're less than 1,000 square feet. I have seen in these particular events, I tripled my sales on the Halloween event. I more than 5 times my sales on the Christmas event. And every other event so far has been at least 1.5 to 2 times my normal sales. In comparison, if I were to look at city events, the German Fest on the first day of the event, my increase is usually about 4%. German Fest on the second day, I have an 85% loss in sales. On the Rails and Tails event, I had a 5% loss in sales. And on the Tomball Night event, I had a 47% loss in sales. And so there's something about these events that is obviously very good for the small businesses in this community. Be that a formula that's working in regards to marketing, or be that in the efforts of the camaraderie of the surrounding businesses. But I would hate to see that end. Personally, post-COVID, these events saved my business. And so I'm very thankful to Megan for spearheading this in the rush of things and making it happen for us. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Okay, then we will now close public comments and receipt of petitions and enter into a workshop of the discussion and direction regarding Shop and Stroll. So who would like, I do have a question for Kelly. On your survey, you received approximately on several of the sides, 18 comments. Okay, I'm a numbers person. I counted them. What can I say? 18 comments. How many actual responses did you get on your survey?
There were 36.
36.
And I say that because there were some that were, so let's say maybe 2 people from a business had responded.
Okay.
So it could have been, I'm just going to use 403 Eats, for example. So it could have been 2 people from 403 Eats. Those are still counted towards the total, the 36, even though they're different.
Okay, so how many individual businesses? did you
32.
32 individual
Yes.
businesses. Okay, and then 18 of them wrote comments.
So, and some of them responded to some questions and some of them either put an NA or
Okay.
unknown. So it doesn't, I'm with you. I was looking at it too, going, this doesn't add up to the right numbers. But when I went back and looked at all the surveys, it's because there were, for instance, there was a lot when we asked, any suggestions to improve? Some said, I don't know, so there were some that were just left blank. So they don't all add up. And that's why.
And how many businesses were the survey sent out to? Individual businesses, not people. About.
I don't know offhand. Most of the ones, the 69, I think is what we had on there.
Okay.
Most of those are each individual businesses. And that came from a list that we got from Megan that everybody that had participated in the sip and strolls before, and then others that weren't on that list that we knew needed to be included on there.
Okay, so clearly almost half of the businesses in Hilltop did respond.
Yes, and there's,
So, good comments.
I don't know if you want to go back to the presentation, but there is a list of all the 32 that responded in there. And I will mention,
Which is a very good response on any survey.
absolutely. I mean, it was a really good response rate. We did upload this survey to our website. So if you want to go and look at it, it's about 74 pages in total. It doesn't show who responded. It just kind of gives you an idea of what industry they're in. So if they were retail or restaurant or whatever, but that gives you all the responses. And that's on our website under About TEDC and then under our news section.
Okay, thank you.
Wait, Kelly. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I want to catch you. Sit down. Okay, you said you wanted to see the grant done away with. I think you told me, I don't want to put words in your mouth, that to do a grant, it has to be somebody that has so many people working for them. How would you do this going forward without the grant going to Megan?
So we would look at incorporating that under our marketing budget. So if you recall, when I presented our budget, the marketing line item, we had requested an increase, and that would be to cover the cost of the marketing. So instead of us going through Megan for a grant, it would be more of a direct marketing effort on our part.
And so we'd be able to keep that way we can keep.
Yes. And as far as the number of jobs, that's a statute requirement. So any grant we do with the business, there's certain things that have to be in that agreement. So it's number of jobs, it's their capital investment, and then the clawback provisions have to be in there.
And that's why just anybody couldn't come ask for the grant.
Right.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear your proposal, to hear that, and that this could develop into something. Megan's brainchild of doing this could develop into something that will benefit this town for generations to come. And that was very exciting to me to see that, especially at a time when we will be facing the road redoing and small businesses averages 25% when you have an event that fail, when you have something like that. So I'm glad to see that that is being discussed. How would you address let's just get it on the table, the subject of the alcohol?
I think there's a couple of options. When I talked to several of the merchants, I'd asked, some of them don't serve alcohol at all. Some of them serve just sodas and cookies and those types of things. The ones that I talked to that said that they didn't have an issue with alcohol, most of them had a TABC bartender on site. And that kind of helped to put a buffer between the business owner and the customer so that the business owner doesn't have to be the one saying, look, you had too many to drink, that's enough. And the bartender is the one that says that. So it kind of takes a little bit of that pressure off the business. I've heard from several of them that It's about $200 for the time frame that they're there. $200, I think, is for a lot of them, it's worth not having to have kind of that hassle.
Would part of how you perceive structuring the Downtown Business Association, Historical Business Association, whatever name you come up with, would that be a requirement to have a TACB bartender if you're going to serve alcohol? Or, because again, I think that was brought up before, of having city tax dollars pay for alcohol. And so that was what was brought up before by this diocese.
Mhm.
And just to be aware, it could be structured then that there has to be certain.
Yeah, I think we can put, we could recommend. I don't want to say yes or no, because I think that's something that all of them as a group, as a collective, need to kind of be on board with. I don't want to dictate. I mean, we're a funding source, and we're helping to kind of bring people together. And I think we've gotten to a point, because of these events and because of the success of them, where everybody has a common goal. Whether that's something that council wants to dictate as far as we think this needs to be in place, I don't know that that's my call.
Okay, well, that's kind of up to this council. I wanted to go ahead and open up the subject since that had been brought out before. I think there were two main comments, was that, and the other comment of not having an organized, that Councilman Stoll had brought up, wanting y'all to self-govern, more or less. So this kind of, I want to open up to discussion then on those comments. So they have a direction going forward.
Kelly, can I ask, with your plan moving forward, have you decided on a name of the event?
No.
Is it shop or is it sit?
I'm going to leave that up to the businesses. I mean, when it was presented to us and we started with the grant, it was under the shop and stroll. I don't intend this to be something that we as a EDC are dictating. I see us more as helping to facilitate, more helping to support, and being able to bring in, like the Texas Downtown Association. They'll help structure bylaws for the group. They'll help them kind of create and get to an association. But I think that's one of the things that really collectively needs to be discussed and voted on.
I mean, I'll say this, I'm not in favor of the city promoting alcohol. At any of our city events, that is a separate deal from the city, where that's a contract that we have on the side with a private business owner that takes care of any alcohol or related events. I don't want to get into promoting alcohol, but I do believe it is up to each individual business owner on what they do within their business. Maybe this is a question for Lauren. Lauren, on a situation like this, I don't foresee us as a city entity trying to tell a business owner if they serve alcohol in their business that they have to have a TABC bartender. But wouldn't that be, if something per se would happen, what would be the liability of the city on a situation like that? If a private business chose to serve alcohol at an event or not?
City wouldn't have any liability.
At a TDC funded
Yeah,
organization.
There wouldn't be any liability in the city.
Correct.
And remember, what we're
Too bad
funding
I
is
think that-
marketing.
Right.
You're funding marketing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's the promo items and the marketing. We're not funding the alcohol, obviously.
Okay, so it would not be funding like it is now. It would be just funding the marketing on the reimbursement of the grants.
It would basically eliminate the reimbursement and the grant, and it would
Okay.
be done through us directly to essentially, whether it's through the paid ads, whether that's, through a marketing firm. And I think all that needs to be kind of flushed out, but I think it definitely needs to be through us as far as the marketing effort versus trying to go the grant route. I think the grant route went well, for the first year. I think there was a lot of lessons learned, but as several of them said, that we wouldn't be here talking about this and really trying to kind of get on the same page if we hadn't gone through what we have the past year and experienced that. So I think it's a real positive to move in this direction. Do I have all the answers? No, I don't. I've looked at a lot of different communities. I've looked at a lot of different organizations. They're set up very differently. It kind of is dependent upon what works in each community. I know we've talked to the chamber about it, and the chamber has over the years, they've tried to, I think, do events downtown and be engaged. And I don't know that they really had positive response. And I don't want to speak for the chamber, but I know, kind of the infighting is one of those where, a lot of people want to go hands off. I don't want to touch it.
Well, let me ask this as well. And Megan, I want to say this to you. A year ago, you heard my comment that I said that I feel as though this needs to have a committee. And as an individual that took it upon yourself to do it, I commend you for that. I think everybody has learned about the positives of this program. But I think you probably yourself have learned about the individual being in charge of something instead of a committee. And, just like myself, there's probably people in this room who do not like me, but we all have to learn how to work together. And that's one thing that I think we're able to do with this program to move forward. Is I like your idea, Kelly, of putting together this through the EDC. I will say this, Dane, I hope I don't steal your thunder. Is there anybody here from the chamber? That does sort of dishearten me, because I do feel as though the chamber does need to be involved in this with the EDC. I understand why the chamber has probably not wanted to get involved in it in the past. But I think with this committee being under the EDC with chamber involvement, and just by a show of hands of the business owners here in town, how many are chamber members? I rest my case.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, if the chamber doesn't want to get involved, then we need to address that with the chamber and defund the chamber on some of our expenses.
Well, I'm not sure the
That'd be fine.
chamber has said they don't want to get
Right.
involved. That has not
I've
been
had
discussed, so I
But
would
I'm just
probably
putting
not
that
put
out.
that out there
That's
yet.
the next thing for the next year.
So just, there is a chamber representative on Zoom.
Okay.
Yes, so they
So
are.
I do feel as though the chamber needs to be involved.
Yeah, we have downtown and we have historical, we have downtown, well, Four Corners area businesses, and we also have downtown historical businesses. And the chamber supporting all of those business is part of what they do. And I'm sure that they are not intentionally not getting involved in this because they have all businesses, not just historical. So not that, I hate to say something, put
To
words
me,
in
it
their
would've been
mouth
nice
when
if
it
they had
hasn't
a
been
representative
discussed.
here instead of
He's on Zoom,
Zoom.
so,
Physically.
okay. Any other comments?
My thunder too. My question.
Sorry,
That
Joe.
was mine
Okay.
too. You knew it though.
So, okay. I just wanted to have all of the questions out because what I don't want to have happen is, work real hard, you come before, you have this funding, and then for some reason when it gets here, it gets denied. So that's why I wanted all the questions to make sure that it has been given to Kelly, that if the discussion is and the vote is in the future to go forward with this separate organization to be associated with the Texas board, that everything you would want to see in order to approve that, because council approves TDC budgets, and they also can get into part of what TDC does. So I want to make sure that all the questions are out there. So when y'all are bringing something or developing something, you know that, what this council feels. So.
know that we had this discussion back a year ago. I made some comments and people were not real happy with the comments that I made, and that's okay. The right to that portion of your opinion is fine. I do know that it was highly recommended that the group of you all got together and formed a downtown business association or a group that could handle this for you guys. And not use taxpayer money. That's the problem. It's not city money, it's taxpayers' money that y'all are asking us to spend. And that is something that we have to be very careful of how we go about spending it so that we are good stewards of that money. And I understand that there's been a lot of people who says this is a great thing. It may be a great thing, but is it the way we want city of Tomball to look? That's the question I have. Is it the way you all want the city that you have look? Is that what y'all want? I mean.
Okay, I'm sorry. That's sister cities, and so no,
I'm
we
sorry.
can't do comments. Do you have a
Just that I have.
discussion among the diocese?
I just think that that's what we discussed, and I think that's what was kind of why I'm upset that there wasn't anything done before now.
I think that if I could, I think you're pertaining to the drinking, where because sales tax dollar is taxpayers' dollars, and we get sales tax from the businesses that sell things in Tomball. And so, but I think what you were saying is having a reputation for alcohol as a town, and that I don't want to emphasize, but it's up to every individual business if they decide to do that. We do not control individual businesses, whether they can have drinking or not. That's up to individual businesses. So I think having the organization and the rules to it, and then each individual would, in business, decide what's right for their business. And of course, any drinking then would have to not be to excess, or we get the police involved. So there's rules for that already.
Well, I think everybody out here ought to know where I stand on alcohol.
Right.
Okay, good. I'm glad
Okay.
you know.
I'm sorry, we can't comment. Can't comment, I'm sorry. Comment time is over.
Mayor.
So, yes.
So I've been to many of these events, and it looks from my position and observation that everyone is out having a good time, with smiles on their faces, spending money. I've talked with many of the merchants in downtown, come to me with little issues and stuff like that. We've tried to work them out. And I've seen really nothing but a lot of positive things going on. Chief, have we had any drunken disorderly with these events?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Jeff Burt, Chief of Police Tomball. To answer your question specifically, Councilman, no. I had a run of every single event date for traffic stops, traffic accidents, drinking related offenses, including DWI and drunken public. And every single date, there was not a single event recorded in that actually 6-hour window. Moreover, I missed one event where I usually went in uniform, but my officers were at every single event. Walking in, I probably visited, I don't know, 30, 40 stores over the course of it, and would report the same. I didn't see drunk service. I tend not to when I'm in full uniform, but at the same time, I report the same thing. But there were no reported accidents. Nothing.
Good. Okay, thank you for that.
Thank you, Jeff.
Sir.
Yeah, so I'd just say, Kelly, thank you for offering to lend some organization and support to this, and I applaud you for your efforts, and I look forward to you coming back and telling us what kind of progress we've made on this. I think it's just critical for our downtown merchants to have something like this and more of things like this to keep the life in the downtown area. So I applaud your efforts for that, and I look forward to you coming back. And just to the merchants that work every day out there trying to run your shops, thank you for coming. And, we'll try to get some organization and built on what Megan and her team has done so far. And I think it'll be
Any other discussions on this? Any other comments? Well, no, public comment period is already over. So I would, again, thank y'all for coming. I would like to thank Megan for having the brainchild to start something that will hopefully outlive all of us and for our downtown area, and maybe we can get that for the Four Corners area too one day. But we appreciate you very much and thank you. And I will, is there a motion to adjourn? Okay, all in, any discussion? Okay, call.
No, I was just, telling her John got the motion.
Okay, call for the vote.
Are we gonna vote?
Are we online to vote? Okay.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign of nay.
Motion carries unanimously.
All right, thank you. We are adjourned.